Good to see everybody again. Really good tempo and energy this morning at practice. It was great to see us come back and start the ECU prep the right way with the way that we attack the practice field. It's going to be critical for us. You know, we need to continue to get better and have a great week like we had last week. Talked to the guys this morning about it, that we played really well on Saturday night because of the way that we prepared during the week at practice. And not just that, but off the field as well, taking care of business academically, taking care of business nutrition-wise, weight room-wise, doing all those things that translate to game day, making sure we continue to do a great job of that this week like we did last week. And so far, so good. Made a big point of emphasis. We got to be better at penalties. Again, I talked about it on the teleconference Sunday night. After watching it, it was even worse than I thought. Just some of the during the play just looked undisciplined and the lining up all sides and whatnot. Can't have that from a penalty standpoint. We talk about playing smart football, and we didn't do a great job of that. We hit all of our goals. We go into each and every week about what we have to do to win the football game. We did that in everything Saturday night and did it really, really well, except the penalty part of it. So we've got to be a lot better there, or it'll cost us on Saturday in Greenville. Injury-wise, good shape. I have nothing really different than what we had talked about on Sunday night. Feel like we'll be as close to a full speed, ready to roll football team as we possibly can be from an injury standpoint when we get up to East Carolina Saturday, and certainly going to be a really, 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 really big challenge. Ton of respect for Mike Houston. You look at wherever he's been, he has won. And he has won at a high level. You can see East Carolina getting better each and every year since he's been there. You turn on the tape, and I see just a lot of really good football players as well. Dynamic running backs that are explosive. Some really talented receivers that we certainly have to be aware of and be able to control. The quarterback's a guy that I love watching him play. When I was at Georgia, we recruited him at Georgia. I went to his high school in Greenville multiple times, watching him work out and throw. And I believe it was the same year that we took Justin Fields, I think, at Georgia. But if we had taken two quarterbacks that year, he was going to be the second one that we tried to get. Or if Justin had not come to Georgia, Holton was going to be the quarterback that we were going full speed on. And obviously a hometown hero from growing up in Greenville, and has had a fantastic career at East Carolina, and somebody I love watching him play. He is a weapon. He really is. I mean, he can run. He's got size. When he scrambles, he looks to throw. Their explosive play cut up is impressive. Defensively, you watch them, and it's a front seven that is big and physical and active. We didn't do a great job of handling movement on Saturday night by Eastern Illinois' front seven. So we've got to be a lot better at that on Saturday against these guys, because they're big and physical. They play really, really hard defensively. You watch their secondary, they're physical. They do a great job of trying to get the ball out and creating turnovers, and throw out the App State game. You watch that App State game, and I sit there and say to myself, one, App State's really good. Two, I sit there and say to myself, how in the heck did this game kind of get away from East Carolina? And it's penalties. I mean, they had a touchdown, got called back because of a penalty. They had a Hail Mary on the end of the first half. They converted on. They got overturned. They had another long run that would have had them first and goal, and I think the 4 or 5 yard line that got called back because of a penalty. So they had some critical penalties from their standpoint that cost them on Thursday night, I guess is what it was, against App State. But we're not, don't pay attention. The team that I expect to see Saturday is the one that beat SMU convincingly at the end of last season. The team that we expect to see Saturday, and I know we'll see, is the same one that has beaten the University of North Carolina 3 times since 2013. The same one that's beaten NC State 2 times since 2013. The same one that's beaten Virginia Tech 2 times since 2014. Torian Gray and I were on that 2014 team. We went up to Columbus, Ohio the Saturday night before, beat Ohio State. Virginia Tech beat Ohio State. Ohio State ended up winning the national championship that year. and the very next week came back and lost to East Carolina at home. Look at 2018. East Carolina lost to North Carolina A&T the very first game of the season in 2018. Came back the very next week and beat the Tar Heels by 3 touchdowns in Greenville. So we know what we're walking into on Saturday, and if we don't, we're going to figure it out pretty quick. It'll be an awesome atmosphere. It's a place that I love going to play. I've been down there a bunch, either as growing up, my dad's son at Virginia Tech, and going down there and playing East Carolina. I went down there a couple times as a coach. Like I said, they take pride in their football, as they should. They've got great tradition. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. If you guys haven't been there, it'll be a treat. I've been to every stadium in the Big 12. I've been to every stadium in the ACC, and the atmosphere at East Carolina is a whole lot better than a lot of the places I went in those conferences. It'll be 50,000 strong. From what I've been told, it's the biggest home game in the history of their program. SEC team coming. We know it'll be a hostile environment. We've got to have a great week of preparation to go play well, because it's a big challenge, and that's not just coach speak. This is a really good football team that we're playing, and we're going into a hostile atmosphere, and we know that we're going to see their very best. And as a competitor, that's what we want. We want them to be at their very best, and we want to go into opposing team stadiums, and we're excited about the opportunity to go play a good football team that I know they've had this game circled on their calendar for a long time. So we're excited. Again, had a good practice this morning. Need to put a few more together this week, and then be ready to go play well on Saturday. So with that, I'll be glad. Oh, before I say anything else too, I just want to thank our fans again for the amazing atmosphere in our stadium on Saturday night. We talk about hostile environments. We talk about great environments and great places with great energy. That out there Saturday night, starting with the walk, was as good as anything. That walk was as good as anything I've seen, and just the environment from start to finish. We appreciate them, and I know there's going to be a lot of purple in that in that stadium on Saturday, but I know we're going to have a ton of garnet and black, and I cannot wait to see the garnet and black in that stadium on Saturday afternoon. We appreciate their support last week and look forward to seeing them in Greenville this week. Now, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
You mentioned that penalties was the only goal that y'all didn't hit, the only benchmark that y'all didn't hit in the first game. What are some of those other benchmarks? How many of those goals do y'all have that y'all want to hit each week?
Yeah, offense, defense, special teams, they all kind of have like their ones that they talk about, specifically for us as a football team. It's stop the run and run the football. It's win the explosive play battle. It's play smart football. It's dominate the fourth quarter, so that's it. Dominate the fourth quarter, which we won the fourth quarter. Play smart football, which that's penalties, that's mental errors, all that stuff. It's win the explosive play battle. It's protect the football from a turnover standpoint, and then explosive plays, runs over 12, passes over 18. So we want to be better than our opponent. We did all that the other night. We just smart football. We had too many penalties, and then mentally we were good. It was the penalty part of it that is the smart football that we got to be better at.
Shane, after you've, cut up the running film a little bit more, just was there one overall issue for the struggles in the first half? And then on part of that, how much will the return of Kevin Harris help with that, assuming he is going to play Saturday?
Yeah, he'll play. He looked good out there today. It'll help. It's another back in the room, and that's nothing against Juju and Marshawn and Zaquandre, because they were awesome the other night. And we named Zaquandre. I told you guys Sunday night he was our offensive player of the game and was every bit deserving of that. So Kevin will have a role on Saturday, but it's not like all of a sudden Kevin Harris is back and those guys are just kicked to the curb. There's some dynamic running backs in that room, Kevin included, and competition's a core value of this program, and we're competing at every position. But certainly it helps to be able to add a guy of Kevin's ability to the room without a doubt. And I wouldn't say there's one issue. It's easy, whenever you're not running the ball as successfully as you like, it's easy to always point at the offensive line. Well, part of it's the offensive line, part of it is the tight ends, part of it is the wide receivers and perimeter blocking, part of it is maybe the quarterback not having us in the right place. So part of it is the running back bouncing a ball when he should hit it up inside, or vice versa. So it's a combination of everybody that has a hand in the run game. Eastern Illinois did a good job of bringing pressure and moving their guys up front, which that's kind of East Carolina's MO as well. So we better be able to handle it, because we put it on tape early on that we didn't do a great job of handling it early on, and we've got to have a great plan this week to go execute against these guys.
Shane, I know on Sunday you said that you weren't going to get into the specifics about the quarterback situation, but with that being said,
I told Steve it would be 8 seconds before we got to that question. So we're like 3 questions in 10 minutes. Y'all are slacking.
I'm trying to get creative with how I'm going to ask this. With that being said about quarterback, but it could be any position. Could be about running back, could be about defensive back. When you're evaluating who's going to play, who's going to start at those positions, how much stock do you put into the previous week, and how much stock do you know guys that did not play last week because of injuries or for other reasons? How do you try to figure that out and determine how much maybe practice also plays a role?
Yeah, I see. You kind of like backdoor me, Jedi mind trick type question there, right there. I see. No, it does. We evaluate everything, Mike, and it's a great question. It really is. I mean, we look at what guys have done previously. We look at practice. I mean, I think look at last week. I think Darius Rush and Cam Smith's a great example. Cam was the starter at corner. He got hurt. Darius went through the entire preseason basically when Cam got hurt, and Darius Rush was the starter. Darius started the other night. I think Cam was in pretty early. They didn't have to play a whole lot of plays on defense, but that's one. Now that's not to say that that's going to be the same scenario with the situation that you're referring to and that everybody wants to know about. But we certainly look at what you've done in games, what you've done in practice, what you've done in previously. But at the end of the day, it's what gives us the best chance to win this Saturday, not next week, not in October. What gives us the best chance to, in this situation, beat East Carolina on Saturday. And we're always upfront and honest with our guys about where they are and what we're thinking and why we're doing the things. There shouldn't be any secrecy or uncertainty about what we're doing. We try and be honest and open and communicate with guys all along.
Shane, I know, obviously, like Mike said, I know we're not getting into the starters, but when you look at Luke and his progression, what is it that you need to see from him, just period, to see that he's full go, ready to go play a game, maybe in the next 3 days or however long it takes? What are the things that you look for to see that he's, good to run out there on a Saturday?
For me, it's one, can he run out there? I mean, Luke can throw the football, don't get me wrong, but Luke's a weapon with his feet as well. And if East Carolina, you guys are going to see on Saturday, they can fly on defense. One thing they can do is they can run. And we don't need anybody out there that can't get themselves out of trouble and run around and move, for one. And then two, I think just the tempo, the crispness that you need to be at that position. He practiced today. He did more today than he has in the past, but there's a difference in being out there and throwing routes to the receivers without a defense and going out there and doing it against 11 guys in front of 50,000 on Saturday. So it's just the timing, all that stuff. I've got to be able to see that he can operate at a high level, which I have no doubt, he'll be able to when he's ready, and get himself out of trouble and run when he's ready as well. But, he was out there in football, uniform today and wasn't wearing the boot, obviously. He was out there. And like I think he just told you guys, he fully expects to be 100% on Saturday, and we feel the same way.
And just on Luke, I know it seems like he's been really upbeat just throughout this whole thing. How did he take to being on the sideline Saturday, and how have you seen him now come back this week as he's, really trying to get back for Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a competitor. I wish we had 100 Luke Dotys. I love everything that young man's about. He was great on the sideline. Supportive of Zeb in the game. He was with us at the hotel on Friday night, and obviously you saw him in uniform and was good on the sidelines from what I could tell between series and things like that. And then coming in here on Sunday, Luke's been the same. Even when he first got hurt, it wasn't like he came in here and it was feeling sorry for ourselves and moping around. He had a great energy and spirit about himself from the day after he got hurt and until now. So he's as eager as anybody to get out there because he's such a competitor.
Shane, how has Kevin handled his rehab and his just staying in the moment and not wanting to get too frustrated. I mean, he's a 1,000-yard rusher in the SEC.
Yeah, he's it would be easy to get frustrated because he loves to play and he wants to be out there. So I'd be lying to you if I told you it's been easy on him, because it hasn't been. I know it's been tough because he wanted to be out there during all 15 spring practices and be full speed. He wanted to be out there during preseason camp and be full speed. He wanted to play Saturday night for sure, but the way that he's attacked the rehab, the way that he's tried to get healthy, because certainly this summer you think everything's moving along, and then he's got to have that surgical procedure like we talked about, and that could be seen as a setback. But he and I have talked all along that these things are just helping you become an even better player in 2021 than what you were in 2020. Let's get you where your body feels better than it ever has and go play. And I think that's been his mindset all along. And he had a big smile on his face out there today at practice, and it was good to see him out there in full pads and running the football like we know he can.
Shane, do you guys have a plan to manage Kevin's workload on Saturday?
Yeah, good question. We haven't talked about it. It's actually on my, as soon as I walk out of here and I walk in there with the offensive staff, it's on my to-do list, one of the things that we need to discuss in that meeting, because we first of all, we haven't been told any kind of limit on his workload, first of all. So there's not an issue on how many plays he could play. He could play 70 plays if we needed him to. Now he's got to be in cardio shape and all that, which I have no doubt that he will be. But part of the thing that we want to talk about is certainly, how we're going to handle these running backs and what we're thinking, rep-wise and rotation-wise as we go throughout the week. I mean, Rashad Amos was out last week and has been battling a little bit of a hamstring and wasn't 100%. Rashad's back if we needed him. So, I mean, I feel like we got the three that played last week, plus now Kevin coming back, and then potentially Rashad as well. And a lot of it, like I told y'all a lot before, is personnel specific and play specific who's in the game. So they'll all have roles on Saturday, but we need to make sure that we're kind of honed in on how we're repping those guys and rotating those guys through.
Yeah, and to follow up on that real quick, you guys have known what this running back room was going to look like since you got here. So to finally have it full go, ready for a game, just from an enthusiasm and excitement standpoint, I mean, how excited does it make you guys?
Excited, and I think they're excited. I was in with Coach Sept and the quarterbacks this morning in the quarterback meeting, and Coach Hardesty and the running backs, they're in the next room over, and it sounded like a frat party in there a couple times today. I mean, there was just laughing and a lot of energy and excitement. So they're all great young men. They love to play. This is a Quandre. I mean, he is like the hype man, in Greenville today. Come on, Fink. So, I'm sorry. What was I answering? I've totally lost my focus now. The fire emergency. Yeah, they're excited. I'm excited. That's what coming in here. I watched enough South Carolina games last year to know that you got a pretty good back in Kevin Harris. I knew about Marshawn and recruiting. Have seen Zaquandre since I got here. Saw Juju, the way that he ran around all preseason. So to have all those guys healthy is exciting. You can't have too many backs, that's for sure.
Since a lot of people got excited about it last week, what's your uniform report for this week?
So that's going to be like a weekly thing, huh? Right now, it looks like we're probably going to be all white this week. So we're still working through some things. So I don't know if that's 100% yet, but I think that's the way we're trending right now. Yep, great question. That might need to be in like the media, like the release each week, the game notes.
All right. Hey, Coach. Just talk to us about Cam Smith had a pretty good game. He was recovering from an injury, and he came back, looked like better than ever. How impressed were you with him? And then also, Debo Williams was named co-freshman of the week. How proud are you of Debo that he got that honor?
Both of them. First of all, Cam was awesome. He from the time and I said it before, from the time he got hurt, the way that he attacked his rehab, getting well, to be able to get back out there and play as many plays as he did and play physical, that was awesome to see. I mean, he really, really, really looked impressive Saturday night, I thought. Excited about his ability and what this season's going to look like for him. And then same thing for Debo. I mean, he's a guy that is continuing to get better at linebacker. He's a little bit behind some older guys at that position right now, in Staley and Sherrod and Brad, but a guy that we have a lot of excitement for, that's really passionate and physical and plays hard on special teams, obviously. So what a cool start for him to be named SEC Freshman of the week. Is that correct? SEC Freshman of the week. That's awesome, and best is still to come for him.
Shane, any increased focus on maybe looking at Jordan Birch on a couple of offensive packages?
Probably from Satterfield's standpoint, absolutely. I'm sure he would. No, he's right where he needs to be. We got a good group of tight ends, but like I said, whenever it was, Saturday or Sunday, you never know. I mean, we want to get our best players on the field. I mean, the reaction on that sideline Saturday night when he caught that ball, and he looked like a runaway train going down the field right there. I mean, Adkins on the side, our offensive line coach Greg Atkins, he came up to me, he was like, "Oh my God!" And Mike Peterson, I mean, it was a wow moment for sure, because he was getting faster as he got closer to the end zone, and certainly it's fun watching him cover kicks. It's fun watching him on our punt return team. It's fun watching him play defense, and right now we're trying to make him the very best defensive player he can be, but it certainly would be fun watching him on offense as well, without a doubt.
And swinging it back to uniforms, no headgear for you on the sideline?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Saturday night? Nah, I didn't. I don't know. Honestly, I think I stopped wearing a hat at Oklahoma last year, and maybe it's just superstition. I really didn't think about it. I didn't wear a hat at Oklahoma after, I don't know, we were on a winning streak at Oklahoma. I didn't wear a hat, so I just kind of kept it going. I don't know. I had plenty of choices. I thought about it. I usually wear it at practice, but I was so busy pregame trying to make sure we could get 11 guys out there for the opening kickoff and things like that I didn't even think about the hat. So more important things to worry about.
Hey, Shane, after the game Saturday night, you said one of the things you've been thinking about leading up to the game, making sure you made all the right decisions. What was the easiest decision you had to make Saturday night? What was the toughest decision? And if you had to get a mulligan on one of your decisions, what would that be?
Ooh, good question, Rick. Easiest decision. Easiest decision. That's a good question. I don't know that. I think through them all from that standpoint. Probably the coin toss, as far as what we were going to do. And I don't mean that funny. Like what we were going to do if we won the toss. Here's what we're doing. If they win the toss and we get to choose which end we want to go to, we knew we wanted to. What it was. I guess they won the toss and took the ball, or they deferred and we received. Is that what it was? I think that's what it was, and received. So they kind of made it easy on us. Probably that one, just coin toss, kind of what I wanted to do to start the game. Toughest decision, man. We talked a lot before the game about the extra point, what we were going to do on the first one if we wanted to do that, muddle huddle 2-point conversion thing that we did. So thought a while about that. It wasn't a tough decision, but that was probably one we spent time on. And then, like, we talked to our players about it from a situational standpoint. We thought we did a pretty good job, knock on wood, of just situational football. We used that timeout right at the end of the first half. We got a stop. I think we blocked that punt or partially blocked it, and then we were able to go down the field, execute somewhat of a 2-minute drive to get it in the end zone. But at that point, I think it was 22-0 or something. You could say, okay, let the clock go out and not use that timeout. We used that timeout, kind of like that one. And then Mulligan, probably would have offered my dad a sideline pass. I don't think I ever did. Not that he wanted to come down there, but he was up with my wife, probably where he wanted to be anyway with the grandkids. But probably should have told him, hey, if you want to come down on the sideline, I got a pass for you. But when you win 46-0, there's not too many hard decisions during that time. I know they're coming, but like I've talked about before, just trying to spend as much time watching other games or studying games throughout the week when I have some downtime, putting myself in those situations, how I would make certain decisions, handling the clock, when to use timeouts, things like that. So after every game, Rick, I mean, we go back and look at things we did well, things we didn't do well, maybe some preparation errors we made during the week in practice that we made a mistake on, personnel errors with our players versus their guys, a matchup that we liked that turned out to be something we didn't like. We always, review that stuff, and then we also look back at the decisions that were made during the game that I make as the head coach, and percentage-wise, was that the right call and things like that. And I think most of them came back this week that they were the right call. So hopefully I'm telling you the same thing next week if you ask that question too, that we were good on those calls.
Okay, one more thing. Your first road trip now is USC's head football coach. What's your schedule like on Fridays? Stadium walkthrough, meetings, a movie, and also game day on Saturday.
Yeah. We try and make our Fridays at home the same as the Fridays away, so it'll be the exact same schedule. We'll do everything here on Friday and then head up to Greenville Friday afternoon. So the only difference in the schedule from a home game Friday to an away game Friday is the fact that we get on a bus or a plane and go somewhere else. We won't do a walkthrough at the stadium up there. It's all here. I think we get to the hotel in Greenville Friday around like 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon, eat dinner, and have our meetings at the hotel that night. We don't do a movie. And then Saturday, it's with it being an early kickoff. I think we got, our guys are up at 7, have a quick meeting at 7:30, eat at 8, and leave for the stadium around 10. So it'll be pretty, we go fast once we wake up on Saturday morning. But I'm a routine guy, and I don't want away to be a lot different than home. I don't want night game schedule to be a whole lot different than day game schedule if we can help it. Like it's obviously going to be. We're playing 7 hours earlier than what we did last week. But as far as the bulk of what we do on Friday night, and Saturday, I want to keep it as similar as I can each week.
Shane, you just explained how proud you are of Debo, and obviously people talk about special teams with you and your family, but to be able to go out there and see the way that the players have bought into it, and that was something that Brad Johnson just mentioned a little while ago. He said he can see the younger guys buying into it. They understand, being able to get to that next level, playing the NFL, the importance of it. How exciting is that to see that culture already, happening here? Because I think naturally people just assume, hey, the Beamer name, that just comes with it, but it's probably not as easy as it is made out to sound.
No, it's not. And we got work to do. I mean, we talked about the penalties that we got to get cleaned up, and there's a lot from the other night. I mean, we blocked 2 punts. Looking back at the video, if we execute right, we probably should have blocked 4, just to be totally honest. I mean, if a guy was lined up wrong twice or was laid off the ball, and if he's just where he's supposed to be, we're probably going to block 2 other punts as well. So we've got to get that corrected. There's a lot of good from last week, but we're certainly not walking around patting everybody on the back this week about how great we were and understanding that what we have to get done this week. But to see us make it, it's always exciting as a coach to see guys have success, especially on special teams, on something that you've worked on. And they were excited on Saturday night when they blocked those punts. They were excited. We made a big deal in our team meeting on Sunday. If you watch our first punt, I mean, Darius Rush is our gunner and just runs right down the field, right past their defensive back, and is down there in the returner's face when he catches the ball, and seeing the speed that Darius ran with. I mean, we really try and celebrate those moments, and it's great to see when they have success on the field, because as much as I love special teams, as much as you love special teams, Debo probably didn't come here to be the right tackle on the punt team. I get it, you know. Alshon Jeffrey didn't come here to be on the punt pressure team. They don't have visions, the highly recruited guys, of playing special teams, but we've made a big deal about it. All of the coaches do a great job in practice of just creating energy and creating competition during those special teams periods. And Coach Limbo and Stanton Weber and the whole staff do a great job of organizing it and whatnot. And we got a ways to go, but certainly Saturday night was a good start, and especially when they see how it affects winning football games. You know, how we play complementary football. You block a punt, the field position it gives your offense. You cover a punt, the field position it gives your defense, and whatnot. And we were aggressive Saturday night, and we certainly want to continue to be aggressive as a football team from a special team standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, from a offensive standpoint, whether it's throwing the ball downfield or going for it on fourth down, and having that mentality.
Shane, obviously your first game as head coach. Did you, in the aftermath, break down all the things you did individually in your own head and say, my plan was good here, maybe I need to tweak it here? I mean, how did you feel coming out of that?
Yeah, pretty good. Kind of following up with what Rick said, to always go back the decisions that I make, during the game. Always go back and evaluate those from that standpoint for sure. If I knew we were going forward on fourth down, did I tell Marcus Satterfield early enough, hey, you got 2 downs here, so he knows on third down we may be going forward on fourth down? Did I do a good enough job of that? Probably the biggest thing, and to answer your question, Rick, do-over, it really wasn't much during the game, but it was a lot of just the organization of the hotel, pregame warm-ups, things. There's a lot of things that my mom was going a million miles an hour when you're focused on the game. But, there's a million notes that I was writing on Saturday night, either before the game or some during the game, of just things that we've got to be better at as a staff, whether it be sideline organization and getting the right play in, or if it's fourth down and maybe it's the field goal block team is going out there. Maybe it's our defense is staying on the field because they're going for it, or maybe they're punting the football and we got to put our punt return team out there. The communication of that at the hotel, not change, but just tweaking things like meeting time wise. Okay, we allotted 20 minutes for this meeting, but both coordinators finished 10 minutes early, or maybe we need a little bit more time for this. Just trying to do a better job of the organizational standpoint. And so that's one thing that I look back on and said that I could be better at. Spent a lot of time putting together the schedule, but then when you actually go through it and you see how things flow, certainly some things that we can be better at from an organizational standpoint. And then we get a lot of input from our guys too. We have a group of players that I rely on a lot. And hey, what'd you think about the meeting schedule Saturday? Hey, how'd you think about how we did meetings on Friday night? Because I want their feedback and input as well. Whatever it is, what we wear, what we wear at the hotel, to how we're dressed for Gamecock Walk. I want them to have some ownership in it too.
I think on Sunday night you gave us 3 special team players of the week. How do you decide who gets the parking spot out there for the special teamer of the week? And is that something that you brought in or Pete brought?
That is actually a heck of a question. I don't know. The parking spot, because I hadn't thought about that. That there's another one right there, Pete, that I got to write down a note. So we have a parking spot for one person. I guess that was here last year, I think. Maybe. Okay. I think it was, because I didn't say let's have a parking spot on that one, and Pete may have. Pete coming in here had the 3 of the week, the 3 separate guys from attacking, enforcing, all that stuff, protector, enforcer, all that. That was Coach Limbo. But that is a question. Now I've got something else to talk about in our 4 p.m. staff meeting. Who gets the parking spot when we just named 3 guys the player of the game? So I don't know. So there's a rookie mistake right there that we haven't talked about that situation either. They haven't asked me yet, so clearly they've figured it out because they haven't asked me about it, but that is one thing. But Coach Limbo had the 3 separate award winners. The parking spot, that was not me. I wish I could say it was. I love the idea. Don't get me wrong, I approved it once they came to me, but I didn't realize, not really sure who that came from. And either way, to have 3 guys that we can find each week that are doing a great job on special teams, that's great, and only continues to add to the culture that we're trying to put together here and build.